Here we have the artillery unit on the southern end, and this, and also at the cavalry unit, is where you really see Henry Strady's skill and talent shine. He was such an incredible sculptor, and you can really see it here, and I will show you all of the detail and explain what exactly is going on here. First, I want to mention that when Strady won the competition for the commission, one of the reasons was because of the design itself. Most, if not all, of the other entries all had this focus on abstract figures of peace, but Strady did not want to focus on peace. He wanted to focus on the chaos of war, or at least to give everybody a sense of what was going on the battlefield. Now, what we have here, at first glance, it seems like an artillery unit just going into battle, but there is a lot more happening at this moment. First of all, let's take a look at the horses themselves. They are not all running in a straight line, in a synchronized pattern. In fact, everything looks very chaotic. This first horse is getting signals to turn to the right, and it is. And if we take a look down at the surface, this is meant to be a muddy terrain, so not really the best for balance and stability. This first horse is turning to the right. The second horse is not exactly getting the message to turn right, but it is being reined backwards, so it's being pulled back. The third horse seems to be getting no message at all to either turn right or to pause its movements, and it is charging straight forward. Now, this is a recipe for disaster. These horses are about to crash into each other at any moment, and then what happens next after that moment passes? Let's take a look in the back. Here we have three men sitting down, and what they are sitting on exactly is an artillery case. They're sitting on a case full of ammunition. And what's behind them? We have a cannon, the cannon that would fire the ammunition. Now, the front part of the cannon is facing the opposite direction, but you see how there's this kind of metal ball at the end here? Well, what happens next once the horses crash into each other? You can kind of guess what's going to happen next. The cannon is going to crash into the artillery case, which is made of wood. So this goes horribly wrong in maybe just a single second from now. And how do we know that this is only a fraction of a second away from happening? I will show you on the other side. We can see the face on this rider up in the front. It is a very strained, anxious face. He knows without the slightest shadow of a doubt that something horrible is in the midst of happening. We have another look at the horses from this angle, and we just saw how strained his face was, but then we turn and look at these three, and we can't really see the middle soldier's face too well. It's pretty much kind of hidden from this angle, or really any other angle. But this soldier to the left and the one to the right, we see that they look very fatigued, they are tired, the war is getting to them, but they do not look alarmed at all. They do not think that anything tragic is going to happen. So this is all happening in real time, very quickly, in the moment. The soldiers in the front know full well that tragedy is unraveling in real time. But yet the soldiers in the back have no clue, but they will very soon. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Henry Strady was something of a perfectionist, and you can really see it here in the details of his work. Let's take a look at the muscles of the horses. So this is very dynamic. The horses are in full motion. But when you look at their muscles, this looks so lifelike, so realistic. He really did extensive study on the musculature of horses. He would wet horses down and then have them run around so he could see how the muscles moved. And then you can see other small details. And even here down on the ground, we have a rifle that was dropped. The mud is sculpted so well here that I feel like if I reached out and touched it, my hands would get dirty with mud. That's how realistic this looks. But of course it is bronze. Another good look at the soldier's face here, where he has no idea of the tragedy that's about to unfold, but he is indeed tired and exhausted from the war. Henry Strady used real-life models for all of the soldiers in this memorial. And over here at the artillery unit section, the people that modeled were all West Point cadets. And there's one in particular that I want to focus in on, and that is this rider in the middle who has that look on his face where he knows something bad is happening. The person who modeled for this soldier, he actually went on to become the commander of Allied forces in Europe for World War II. Before and then afterwards, he became the commander of all forces at Iwo Jima towards the end of the war. So quite a resume here. And a bit of a look from the front. As I mentioned before with the Lions, the units carried both the American flag and also their own regiment's flag. So over here with the artillery unit, we see the regiment flag, and over on the other side with the cavalry, we will see the American flag. Here we see it from the back, and we've got the cannon pointed right at us. I want to show you these lampposts right now. There are 4 on this side and 4 on the other side. There's a bald eagle at the top. These are actually replicas. When the memorial first opened, it looked just like this. There were the 8 lampposts in these spots, but then in the 1930s, they were removed. And remember, this is the Great Depression. There were all kinds of cuts being made everywhere to just about everything. So these were removed, but the thing was, they were never replaced again after that. And it was only until there was a major restoration in 2015 that these were finally replaced. And even then, that didn't happen right away. They only were put back in 2019, so quite recently. And really, as a tour guide, when it comes to the issue of lighting at memorials, this is a pretty important thing because we have always had issues over at the FDR Memorial with the lighting at night. It's really not, even now, it's not the best lighting at night. And everybody wants there to be better lighting there. So all of us tour guides really appreciate the importance of having these lampposts back.